In southern Ohio, General Electric purchased more than 7,000 acres of land in the Peach Mountain area. Public roads were closed, no trespassing signs lined the area, and access quietly disappeared across an entire mountain range. For most people driving through the region, the change is subtle. A road that no longer goes where it once did. A gate where none used to be. On paper, this became a jet engine testing facility, legitimate and unclassified. What has never been explained is why it is secured like a military installation. Locals say this place has never felt ordinary. Long before most people knew who owned the land, they noticed sounds coming from inside the hills that did not match what they expected to hear. They describe lights where no aircraft should be, and they still hesitate to talk about it. Over time, UFO sightings and unusual activity became part of the local conversation, often followed by long pauses and then a change of subject. What makes this place unsettling is how consistent the stories are. People who stop nearby say they are followed, watched without seeing who is watching them, and encouraged to leave without explanation. No one identifies themselves, no reason is given, and no rules are stated out loud. There is no warning, just an unspoken understanding that you are not supposed to be there. Over time, that pattern stops sounding like coincidence. I'm Rowan, and this is OTRA Legends. This investigation focuses on Peach Mountain, what is known, what is claimed, and why it is often referred to as Ohio's Area 51. I drove along the surrounding roads, stopped where the pavement ends, and spoke with locals who have observed this area for years. We did not attempt to film inside the restricted zone. Everything shown was captured from public land and open airspace. The GE test site is located behind fenced-in land, closed roads, and active security, and getting too close can quickly draw attention. Even documenting the edges of this area comes with limitations, and those limits are part of the story. The name Peach Mountain did not come from secrecy or industry. Long before General Electric arrived, this ridge in Adams County was known for orchards, including peach trees that once grew across the slopes and surrounding farmland. That quiet agricultural name remained, even as the land shifted from orchards to restricted testing grounds. This site sits at the intersection of three things that rarely coexist comfortably: old land, modern secrecy, and people who notice when both are present. For families who have lived in this area, including mine, this was never a place of legends or rumor. It was a place where roads closed, access changed, and unusual things happened close enough to feel personal. To understand why Peach Mountain draws so much suspicion, you have to start with the land itself, long before any fences or gates were built. This part of southern Ohio has always been different, shaped by geology, history, and long memory. Just a short distance away sits Serpent Mound, one of the most studied earthworks in North America. Built atop what was later identified as an ancient meteor impact site. Whatever one believes about the mound's purpose, the ground here is not ordinary. People who live nearby know that not because of stories, but because the land behaves differently. This mountain also sits close to the Ohio River, a corridor that has carried people, industry, and military movement for centuries. Rivers like this shape not just geography, but decisions about where things are built and where they are kept out of sight. By the time modern industry arrived, this land already carried history and unease. The atmosphere did not begin with fences, it predated them. This place did not create that atmosphere, it inherited it. When the Cold War began, places like this were not chosen at random. The United States needed testing grounds that were remote, controlled, and defensible, yet close enough to industrial infrastructure to matter. Southern Ohio checked every box: rugged terrain, natural isolation, and proximity to major transportation corridors. That is why in the 1950s General Electric established what would become the Peebles test site. Officially, it was built to test rockets and propulsion systems, later expanding into jet engine testing. Loud and dangerous work like this benefits from distance, discretion, and control. On paper, that explains the fences, the land purchase, and the closed roads. But the Cold War was never just about testing what was already understood. It was about understanding what was not. Reverse engineering was routine during that era, and it extended beyond foreign aircraft alone. According to interviews with engineers, a secretive operation had been underway for decades, including the practice of quietly flying engineers into this site using a private airstrip located on Peach Mountain. According to these accounts, engineers were brought in to examine and help reverse engineer aircraft that could not be identified, using known design standards. They described being given limited time inside a contained room, allowed to study the craft, its materials, and its structure before being escorted out. They were not told where the craft came from, who recovered it, or how long it had been there. Each engineer was expected to make their own observations, record impressions, and leave without discussion. Some engineers later claimed that what they were shown did not resemble conventional foreign technology. They described shapes, materials, and propulsion concepts that did not align with known aircraft programs of the time. Whether these craft were experimental, captured, or something not originating from this world was never clarified. What lingered was the sense that familiar rules were no longer applying. Work like this does not always happen on military bases, and it does not always involve equipment that can be publicly acknowledged. It often takes place at civilian facilities with military contracts, places like Peach Mountain. Over time, rumors began circulating locally, not simply of advanced propulsion, but of technology that did not behave according to the rules engineers were trained to expect. There is no document that proves those rumors. There is no declassified memo that confirms them. But the idea itself is not outrageous. If this mountain was where testing happened, then Wright-Patterson Air Force Base was where understanding happened. Located roughly 2 hours north of the GE test site near Dayton, Ohio, Wright-Patterson served as one of the nation's primary centers for foreign technology evaluation during the Cold War. Aircraft analysis, material study, and reverse engineering passed through that base, forming the backbone behind classified testing conducted elsewhere. Declassified records also confirm that it housed Project Blue Book, a formal investigation into unidentified aerial phenomena. The Air Force acknowledged that some cases reviewed under Project Blue Book remained unidentified, even after technical and engineering analysis. Civilian engineers were involved. That much is documented. What is less discussed is how that work extended beyond the base itself. Engineers did not always stay on site, and in some cases, specialists were quietly flown or driven to assist with testing at unidentified off-site locations. Sites like Peach Mountain. At this point, people usually ask the same question, whether any of this was happening underground. There is no public record confirming an underground base beneath the GE test site or the surrounding hills. What does exist are subsurface test structures, exhaust tunnels, and buried infrastructure that are common at jet engine testing facilities. In terrain like this, much of that work is built into the hills themselves, making activity feel hidden even when it is not. Nothing about this place seems normal. People wonder what happens behind the closed gates. No one says much more than that. Why does that happen here? Part of the answer may be that moving engineers instead of equipment was easier, quieter, and far harder to trace. Southern Ohio made that movement possible, offering distance without isolation and access without visibility. If advanced propulsion systems were being evaluated, this site would have been a logical destination, remote, controlled, and already operating under the cover of legitimate industrial testing. For people living nearby, they heard strange sounds deep in the hills, saw strange lights, and noticed things that never came with public answers. When the same kinds of anomalies keep appearing in the same places, people start paying attention. Stories like this do not survive because people believe them outright. They survive because they fit the landscape. Peach Mountain never needed proof of anything extraordinary. It only needed to sit quietly in the middle of too many strange overlaps. Sometimes the most effective secrets are not hidden. They are simply left unexplained. I'm Rowan, and this is OTRA Legends. Until next time, happy hunting.